Yes, friends, difficulties and failures are an integral part of any process, whether it's business, investments, or personal development. But it's very important for everyone to understand, even in the most challenging moments, when it seems like the market is against you, there is a wonderful opportunity to learn from it. However, if constant losses and feelings of hopelessness become the norm, it can cause severe stress and, of course, negatively affect morale. It's especially important in such moments to maintain a clear perspective on the situation and analyze whether the chosen strategy is truly leading you in the right direction. In today's video, I want to share with you a strategy that will help not only to overcome difficult times, but also to generate profit even in the most unstable conditions. This method is based on understanding market dynamics and allows you to better sense the market, as if you have a sensor that detects subtle changes and trends. Be sure to watch the video until the end to get a complete understanding of the strategy. Don't miss any important details. Let's get into the details. So, I have set up the indicator in such a way as to track firstly volatility, the overall market sentiment, and definitely trading volumes. Don't be alarmed at all. I will explain everything as clearly and transparently as possible, how to work with it, and most importantly, how you can profit from it. The first thing we need is the envelopes indicator, then a moving average, and the Ozma oscillator, which means 3 indicators. We connect them accordingly in the trading room, then proceed to the setup, and we need to adjust them a little. It's not that complicated, just follow along with me when you add these indicators to your trading room. Look, the first indicator, envelopes, is the outer lines. The period is set to 20 to 12, I apologize. And the second parameter is set to 0.06. This will help us better read signals and style. I also removed the color and the central line so they don't interfere with us. I set the color of the upper line to green and the lower line to red to make it easier to navigate the chart. I generally believe that we should not only read signals, but also adjust the strategy so that the information is perceived as conveniently and pleasantly as possible for us. This way we will spend less energy and effort on analysis. Next, in the moving average, we have a period of 30 and the type is SMA. Thus, this moving average will be less sensitive to sharp changes and better reflect the current trend in the currency pair. At this point, I also made its color white. I also changed the color of the indicator. Ozma is also white because they will correlate with each other. The moving average and Ozma indicator settings for Ozma are by default 12, 26, 9. We don't need to change anything in them. Let's move directly to the essence of my strategy, from which we will proceed. First, we pay attention to the contact of the candles with the moving average. In all these places, the level was successfully broken through, and the movement continued in the same direction in which the breakout occurred. We will open 100%. Here, here, and here. That is, at this time, we could easily open contracts. Every time there was contact of the candles with the moving average. Practically a guaranteed profit. Usually in such situations, it becomes obvious that the trend is gaining strength, ready to move rapidly in the direction of the breakout. However, this is not always the case, and other indicators will come to our aid. For example, Ozma. We will analyze trading volumes using it. That is, for a short, good signs are if the white bars of Ozma are located below the central line and are consistently increasing in size. As shown right here. In principle, at this moment, when the candles were consistently moving downwards, we could open short positions, that is, short sell. This should be done until they start approaching the lower red line of the envelopes indicator or even touch it. Up to this point, essentially. Then you can see for yourself what happens with the price. It starts to bounce off this level. That is, the sales encountered a support level and the price went into a correction. After which, in the oscillator, we also observe significant changes in trading. The section we see now indicates that sales have persisted, but judging by the dynamics, they are starting to give way to purchases. Buyers are entering the game. This is also evident from the candlestick patterns. The trend structure has begun to break down and a correction or reversal is forming. Next, I will highlight entry options so you don't get confused. This part will be the first condition for entry, and these signals will turn out to be stronger or less risky for us. The second option for opening a position will be based on bounces from pressure zones. I will also draw this now. Here, an opportunity has arisen to open a contract for an increase. Precisely at this moment, the moving average is breached. Further, the trend couldn't move. Upwards, we have a significant bounce from the resistance level occurred, as there was a strong selling impulse earlier. But then the price again breaks through the moving average again, and in such a case, we once again pay attention to the volumes in the Ozma oscillator. And as we can see, they are quite large. Above the zero line, you can confidently open a long contract at this point. Then the candle touched the green line of the envelopes and bounced off, which gave us the opportunity to open a position. But before this, it's important to monitor the movement of the bar style, I say again. The main thing is that they show a downward movement at the moment. And here the third option appears, conditions for entering the market. This is a signal again from the Ozma. In it, there is also a crossover and a trend change. This manifests at the turning point, right at the boundary of the indicator's zero line, right at these points. By combining the signal with the moving average, we could earn precisely at these moments. The most important thing is to wait and correctly interpret the information from the indicators. Basically, as always, guys, nothing new. I made the moving averages the same color, once again, to make it easier for us to see their simultaneous signals. With their help, we can find confident points to open our positions. I hope I didn't confuse you. I drew a lot of information on the chart, and I hope you grasped the main idea. Now I will try to earn using this strategy and demonstrate examples to you that will help you better understand this system. Let's go! So I settled on the euro-dollar currency pair. For some, it might be complicated, but with the set of indicators we're using today, there are no problems. The price is moving towards the moving average. I hope it reaches this level and I can open a long contract. Yes, friends, today I will also be boosting the account while simultaneously explaining the logic of my trading. I will show what exactly you need to pay attention to and how it all works. Look, we see that the candles have touched the white line, the moving average. Then the upper green curve forms a slightly upward slope. And in the Ozma indicator, the bars are gradually increasing, aiming upwards. A complete match of our trading signals. I would like to warn you about one important function of the entire trading mechanism. Regardless of what you do and what heights you aim to reach, it is extremely important to have a clear understanding of your goals, what you want to achieve. This is necessary to get exactly what you want and not lose motivation on the often long and sometimes difficult path. A wonderful, good impulse, upwards. Remember everything I am doing now, under what conditions I am entering. This is one of the strongest signals, as everything has completely aligned for us. Great, the first trade is a plus, $37 on the balance. I will analyze, change currency pairs, and try to show you all the conditions that could be found today, so you can see that the strategies really work almost everywhere. Let's find the next contract. So look, here I will open according to the second entry condition principle. If you remember, it's the rebound from the upper green line of the envelope's indicator. And the pressure zones, let's say, waited for the price to rise a little higher. This way, we get more guarantees for a successful completion as long shadows form on the candles. This also tells us that the asset is experiencing significant pressure from sellers. Next, we look at the Ozma indicator. It's evident that trading is gradually shifting from buying to selling. And here, it's important not only their position relative to the zero line, but also that they start to decrease in order, as I mentioned at the beginning of the video. So friends, at first glance, it seems quite simple to set a goal for yourself. However, many people, including traders, face the issue of not setting something specific for themselves. And this leads to uncertainty about how to accomplish your task. For example, when I was just starting my journey in trading, I clearly remember making decisions at random, hoping for, let's say, some kind of luck. How is our trade doing? Great. So, hoping for luck is more like trying to hit a target with your eyes closed. In the end, I was just wasting time and money. The first and second trades are already in profit. Great. With the help of signals, I managed to perfectly recognize the future price movement. Moreover, the price has already significantly gone down. Let's increase the investment size in max and go long again. Look, in this case, I am not relying on signals, but on the shadow that instantly appeared under the candle as the price sharply rose. Here, in this kind of situation, the main thing is to pay attention to the overall direction of the currency pair as the moving average and envelopes are pointing upwards. We understand that here the buyer still dominates and, most likely, the asset will aim to grow. Roughly speaking, we are simply keeping up with the overall movement and we earn calmly from this. And most importantly, there's no need to rush or fuss. There, perfect. Before making investment decisions, ask yourself, what are your goals in trading? Why did you decide to engage in this activity at all? These questions should occupy your attention, from the very beginning, when you first entered the market. This is very important, believe me. Most people say, I want to make a lot of money. But the more specific your goals are, the faster you will develop an appropriate trading system, corresponding risks, and so on. Not a bad start to my acceleration, friends. This is my 15th attempt, but I am not discouraged. Let's see what happens next. Here, obviously, there's a trend. Enter the sideways market. Let's take the risk to work it out. This is not the first time I've encountered such a situation, with sideways movement, and time after time, it's not getting any easier to predict the movement. Look at the prices. Because sideways markets simply bounce off a certain area, which you need to immediately note for yourself if the price previously went down. That is, now it has a chance to repeat the same movement, the same step. Moreover, in the oscillator, the bars are starting to decrease rapidly, which means the asset is being sold. Personally, by the way, I set a goal for myself to earn a certain amount to note. I analyzed my capabilities and my risks. At first it seemed difficult, honestly, I will tell you. However, by tracking my progress, I became more confident in my actions. So to speak, yes. As it began to build a general understanding of the process and my capabilities in this direction, analytics 100% helps to study not only the percentage ratio, but also yourself and your strengths. Not very good, the candle stayed above my position. What will happen with it in a second? Yes, most likely, I should have waited, opened the contract a bit higher. This is a return. Let's try to open a bit higher this time. In principle, I am now holding my entry point exactly from the pressure zone, as in the first trade on this currency order. So it will be harder for the price to knock out my position. It happens, friends, when the price stops at the opening point level, the investment amount is returned to the balance. Nothing lost, nothing gained. An absolutely not bad outcome. So, about the goal of a specific amount, here it's important not only to determine the desired amount, but also to set realistic timeframes. For example, I set myself the task of earning 5% of my capital in the first month, which gave me a clear direction for action. What do I need to do to earn 5%? The main thing is, under no circumstances should you set overly high expectations, especially if you lack experience. Be realistic, move gradually, smoothly, starting small. So, the trend continues its sideways movement as expected. Nevertheless, the overall bullish trend still pushes the price. But it's too late, friends. My contract is ending. I'm locking in the profit on the balance. Great. Let's move on to the next opportunities. About the dynamics of other pairs, I think we'll find that there's nothing interesting. I waited a long time for the next price touch with the moving average, and finally it became obvious. However, the path to this moment took a significant amount of time. Friends, this is a long position. Look at what's happening with us. Is there anything to note in this trade? I'll say this. We had a crossover, and therefore the signal looks as stable as possible. The trading volume is increasing in favor of purchases after a prolonged period of sales. Let's figure out the goal. Look, this is just the beginning of the journey. Our self-realization in trading should be as goal-oriented as in business. These moments correlate. Trading opens up huge opportunities for us to earn additional income and explore alternative ways of investing capital. For me, it's a great way to understand how the financial market functions and what knowledge is necessary for successful trading. So let me tell you On the chart, we observe a simply magnificent breakout. Everything is going smoothly, just like in the textbook. So in the process of gaining experience, I learned to earn money and also develop a trading system besides that, guys. Combinations for earning. I'm sharing them with you now. In the end, I realized that I could achieve a stable income from investments and of course got an incredible thrill from it. I hope you will too. Experience it when you start earning well. Friends, let's move on to the next asset. At the moment, there's no point in staying here. I don't see any opportunities to open a position. Let's move on to the next one. Professional trading in financial markets. Of course, in any field, there are always beginners. However, it's important to prepare yourself for this path in advance. Here, I hold a contract from the resistance level, which was followed by a reaction while the buying volumes in the style of Tari began to decrease. Not bad at all. So friends, professional trading involves managing other people's funds. Honestly, I don't recommend anyone to borrow and trade with borrowed or credit money. It doesn't always end well, and more often than not, it ends badly. Speaking from my own experience, I've met many people, though I've never gotten into it myself, but I've met many who traded with borrowed money. For the most part, they experienced losses. Psychology, guys, it's just psychology. Never trade with money you are not prepared to lose. Always invest only what you can. Well, let's say don't need, because risks exist, and yes, so friends, excellent. The trade is plus $531, great. There's nothing more for us here. Let's move on to the next asset. A crossover recently occurred in the oscillator, which means there's a signal to open a short and we will use it. It's important to consider the previous trend of the asset, which in turn is in a bearish phase. In fact, this indicates that sales should start any minute now. You see, here are all these moments. The price is dropping, updating, lows, most likely leading to candles moving with good potential downward. I hope we earn here. Let me tell you about my attitude towards trading. Trading for me is not a job. Well, I mean, it's not just a job, it's a tool for self-improvement, starting to recognize my weaknesses and develop strength. Willpower is not easy, but very beneficial. Every defeat in trading for me is a lesson that has only helped me become stronger. Perhaps trading also helps me to know myself. It's discipline. And you could say it's an indicator of one's personal growth and evolution. I have never met traders who come to the financial market with the sole purpose of simply achieving success and making money. Most often, this goal is just an additional one. So friends, I am earning $1,000 on the balance. That's cool. I think if the price can't go any higher, then it might be possible to earn again. Let's give it a try. A shadow is already appearing on the candle. This works to our advantage. That is, the price continues to be pushed down by the sellers. In the Ozma, the bars are only getting stronger, consecutively, downward. We will stick to the strategy. As long as the bars in the oscillator increase in size one after another, we understand that the movement is dense. But as soon as at least one bar becomes smaller than the previous one, a possible reversal should be expected. This won't necessarily lead to a price reversal, but it's better to think twice and not open a position. In such moments, everything is going well so far. Yes, each candle is forming in red. If you also pay attention to the lower line of the envelope's indicator, our indicator on the red line, it is directed downward. And this is also another reason to just calm down, take a breath, and wait for success, the completion of the deal. So, of course, there is a chance of a small reversal or correction. You know, an impulse can never be ruled out. But 3 seconds remain until the contract ends. And this brings me 1896 to my balance. Great, let's change the currency pair. I want to show you another example in different conditions for opening a position, so you have a better understanding of working with this trading line. Quite good. You can see from the line that the trend is going down, as the direction perfectly conveys the sales dynamics. we open a short. That is, this is a turning point when the moving average started to go down, and the candles dropped below it. Previously, trading volumes were below the zero line. Now they are less active, but the past energy will still make itself felt. You will see it. So, watch. In the course of trading, as I already mentioned, you will inevitably need the most strict discipline. If this skill is currently lacking, don't worry, it will develop with experience. Through in-depth study and active trading, you will gradually become more disciplined, which is normal if you want to earn money. At least these are not just words, friends. Everything was experienced personally. It may sound cliche, but it's a fact worth keeping in mind. If you suddenly encounter failures, failures are part of the process, and they are something that you need to go through to move forward. That's all. There is no growth without losses. Volatility slightly increases, but it doesn't prevent us from earning $300–450 on the balance. There is a risk here since the price has moved into a sideways trend. Let's exit this currency pair. I will no longer open positions here. I won't take the risk. Here is a very strong bullish movement that evolves into a break of structure or temporary consolidation. I will rely not so much on signals, but on technical analysis and indicator data. The trend failed to break the resistance level twice, which means it is unlikely to succeed on the third attempt. Most likely, it will be pushed slightly lower with a similar rebound. The fact is that market participants are actively selling the currency pair, which happens when it is heavily overbought and loses interest for most investors who are currently in the market. In this psychological game, let me tell you, it's important to understand that you shouldn't really rely on signals for too long. For trading, it's necessary to learn independently, find levels and entry points, as this will open up more opportunities for you and expand your knowledge. I opened a contract here to provide a clear example that technical analysis often actually surpasses indicator-based analysis. But it only comes with Socrates. The main thing is not to get too close. At the moment, with the moving average, if you open positions from it, it might be perfectly super. I have almost $6,000 on my balance. The results of my trading are simply amazing. Friends, let's find a new currency pair and open another one, some other girl. So, the moving average was broken through. Let's work on a short trade. Let's see what this brings to our balance. It's also important to consider the slope of the envelopes line at this moment, as it gives us a signal to open a short. In Ozma, trades are moving towards selling, one way or another. With the overall downward bearish trend, I think everything will be calm for us. So my friends, we understood that a professional trader, as well as any successful one, is, above all, a person with discipline. Without it, you can't go anywhere. It is fundamentally the basis of successful trading in financial markets. Without discipline, it's impossible to follow your trading plan and your trading strategy. Emotions can cloud judgment, and such traders often start acting impulsively, which definitely leads only to the loss of their capital. Nothing good will come of it. While everything is not as good as I would like, I don't want to start over. This acceleration. So it went. Come on. There it is, friends. Boom. 8,280. $2 super. It was a bit exciting and dangerous for Vanya. I think it's time for me to finish trading, as I've already accelerated quite a bit. I captured the right moment for you quite well, explained it. So let me show you once again how I withdraw the earned money. Let's go. It's quite simple here. We are in the withdrawal menu. Enter the required amount and select the TRC20, Tether TRC20 type. Friends, this is an electronic dollar. Use it if you don't know how to use crypto yet, and a video will appear above my head just for you. I recorded a link on how to do all this, so it's simple. The minimum here is $20. The money arrives within 2 hours and to the address of the crypto wallet. We press the continue button. Here's a message that the withdrawal will take 2 days, but again I say 2 hours and the money will be with you. Therefore, I recommend everyone to use cryptocurrency. You can exchange it anywhere in the world. And here, the payments go once again. I speak as quickly as possible. In the history, we see such a section. Here, my transaction is displayed. While it is in process, it can be cancelled if something was done incorrectly. So I will wait for it to complete. Don't go away. And I will show you how it all looks in reality. Then we, gentlemen, the status changes to green. A little banner appears, complete. This means that the request has been successfully processed. In principle, I have shown you all the most important points. I think we can move on to summarizing the trading session. Well, my dear ones, you have conducted a full trading session with me, and I hope you have gained valuable experience that will help you in your future activities. I remind everyone that this is the 15th attempt at acceleration, so don't think that everything is so simple and transparent. In all the videos, I mention which attempt I'm recording, so it's easier for you to follow your goals. Structure them, friends. Write down on a piece of paper what you want, and never stray from your path. When everything is going well for you, be sure to subscribe to my YouTube and Telegram channels. There will be even more useful information for you there. Personal contact for reaching me, feedback from my participants, and more. In general, a lot of things. Click the bell so you don't miss my new videos. Wishing you more kindness, more profit in your balance. Peace and goodness above your head. See you in my new videos. Goodbye, everyone.